right, hello everybody. Welcome out there on the live stream. Welcome to a packed house inside. We're so glad to have you guys here and have you out there as well. We're going to just cut to the chase. Julie, Kim Walker, and Don Bailey both came down with COVID. And so we found that out this morning. And we also, Julie let us know over the weekend. And we just, as far as like getting them to get in on the audio, we were trying everything and it just didn't work. So I apologize for them not being here. I mean, they're devastated. They really wanted to do this and be here. So next year, right? We're going to go ahead and get started though with Cecilia. And what Dawn was going to talk about was musicality and warm-ups, learning musicality and tone through warm-ups to prep yourself. Can you all hear me back there? Awesome. And so he's going to record a video, and you guys are out there on the live stream and here are going to receive that video. And also Julie is going to be talking about why she chose the Etudes, a little bit about what she does for the college, and what it's like to be a music major at her college. Also, like, you know, how are these Etudes selected? Who chooses the final Etudes, and why did she choose these? And some little tricks of the trade that she has learned over the years. So sorry to disappoint y'all about Dawn and Julie. They're just as heartbroken. But we have two amazing clinicians here, along with myself. Won't toot my own horn though. So we're going to start off with Miss Cecilia Hamilton, and we've got Miss Rebecca Chapman back there, and I am Rebecca Cothran. We have all been teaching for many, many years. I know I did the All-State Etudes when I was a young girl, not anymore, and I've been teaching them ever since. So we all have lots of experience, and this whole program is about just getting that first lesson out of the way, introducing all of the things that we would say in that first lesson, so you can go away feeling like, okay, I can play the whole Etude. There's no problem with that now. I can do this. So here we go.
Okay.
Take it.
Can you hang on 1 second?
Yes.
We're having technical difficulties. We're getting an echo. 1 second.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and switch with Cecilia. Oh, go ahead. Absolutely, yes. Absolutely, yes.
Something's up with your
microphone. Should I just kill everything else? Sorry, guys, technical difficulty here.
Let's try that.
Okay. All right.
I don't know if that's it.
So the last thing I want to tell you about is in the email, we are going to send out the links to Julie, her Etudes that you can find on the TMEA website, her discussion on how to practice them and her playing them. So our prerogative right now is not to play the Etudes for you. We're not going to stand up here and play them. We're going to teach you the whole time. We're also going to put on there the links to our information, that if you'd like to, there we go, there's my list, that if you'd like to play your Etudes for somebody else along with your teacher on one of our live stream platforms, and we can listen to your Etudes and we can help you along. Like, say you make area and you want to play for as many people as possible, you're going to have all of our information. I know Dawn does that, and we've all agreed to do that, so you will have that information. The other thing that I'd like to do is to thank Carolyn Nussbaum Music Company. Everybody give them a round of applause. And her wonderful staff. If you need the Etude book, it's right there. If you need your solos, they've got all of the solos, and Daniel is the most amazing person when it comes to solos and music and duets and ensembles, anything you'd like to try and find. So they're all here to help. If you'd like to try a flute, they have all kinds of flutes here, because, you know, a great flute will give you your best potential. So you can try out flutes here. You can make an appointment, make an appointment, and just come in and try out flutes and find what flute fits you best. And then, let's see, is that it? I think that's about it. Also, if you are a teacher and you need a space to teach Masterclass or to have a flute party or to have a recital, contact the Carolyn Nussbaum Music Company. They have fabulous spaces here, more than just this, to accommodate you. So without further ado, Cecilia Hamilton, come on up.
All right. Thank you. Okay, so I'm just going to go through a very long document. You'll all have access eventually to a PDF. It's about 4 pages, I think. And it's an outline of everything I wanted to do today, but there's absolutely no possible way that I'll get through everything. And some of the things I already know are going to be covered by other teachers or your private teacher, and it might be a little bit vague to give them their own way to teach you. Okay, so first of all, I'd like everybody to stand, because I want to remind you, first of all, that musicians are athletes of the tiny muscles. So everybody stand. And raise your hand if you've ever had shoulder stiffness or pain from playing your flute. Cool. Okay, so put your flute down for just a second.
Okay.
Gently.
I can't see her.
Yeah. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to keep our hands clasped behind us. Okay. First, we're going to do a forward bend like in yoga, like this. And then you're going to bring your arms sort of towards your shoulders as much as you can without pain. So this is the number one thing that flutists complain about, yeah? So it's important that you warm your body up before you do anything else. I'll refer you to your teachers. You can all sit now, but get your flute first. I'll refer you to your teachers for the other stretches, because I know people have really specific things they do with wrists stemming from many different practices or ideologies. And then I want you to think of not a warm-up, because when you think of it as a warm-up, you're really just thinking of it as something mechanical. You have to warm the flute up so that you can play it, and that's not the real purpose of a warm-up. Okay, you need to mentally or verbally change the phrase warm-up to tone studies, tuning studies, and artistic development. This is the most effective part of preparing an audition, and you have a handout from Don Bailey that's going to talk about that as well. Memorize your warm-ups, okay? Play them in the dark so that you can take out one sentence, the eyes, and truly let your ears work like they're supposed to. You can use a mirror whenever you can to sort of refine your embouchure in any position that you're working on. And you need to be gentle with yourself and understand that we're all works of art and works in progress at the same time. Okay, so when you're practicing, very often you might spend your time on things that you already know how to do. Okay, there's a place in the practice, according to me, where that is appropriate, and that's at the very end. At the beginning of your practice is really more beneficial for you if you focus on the thing that is your worst. Reasons are that you will then have your highest level of energy, focus, optimism, patience, and relaxed body positions. As you know, those wane towards the end of your practice, and if you wanted to practice your worst thing at that point, you would give up or maybe practice it sloppily. So move your worst thing, your newest worst thing, the beginning of your practice every day after the warm-up, okay? And, of course, go slow. Donna's going to talk about that a lot. Everyone will talk about that a lot, but it's the number one thing that students don't listen to us on. So you want to make sure that you really take that seriously. Okay, now, developmental studies, number one, you're going to need these for a lot of things. Gut puffs. Anybody ever heard of them? Gut puffs. Let me go through all the terms. Gut puffs, catch breaths. Hoo and coo. Ab kicks. Flute crunches. One of my students came up with that, by the way. They inspire me. Okay, so how many of you have never heard of those before? Raise your hand. Great. Oh, well, let me just do a quick intro of that. Okay, I'm going to step just a little to the side. Basically, I want you to take your thumb, find your belly button. Poke your thumb in your belly button. Now let your hand clasp below your belly button. Okay, And I want you to sit up nice and straight. And imagine that there's a string in the corresponding area of your back. And someone's pulling the string really quickly back. So you'll go. Everybody try it. Ready, go. Okay, and you just try that a few times. Let's do it on, say, a B natural. Everybody do it with me. 2, ready, go. So we're using B natural. You'll use long thumb. Ready, go. Okay, now it's important that you do not use the tongue. This is going to be a really important thing throughout the presentation. Okay, don't use your tongue. Let's try it again. That means these muscles, your diaphragm muscle, your abs, your intercostals, all those muscles need to work together at the same time. You can think of yourself as a balloon and someone suddenly goes and like squeezes. Okay, they squeeze all the air out and then you inflate again. Okay, ready? 2, ready, go. Again, ready, go. No tongue. Okay, so now if you're trying to do this and you realize that your sound is not clear, the answer is not add the tongue. That means the air is too late, so it arrives late, like after the beginning, or it never got to the right speed to begin with. Okay, so you want to practice it until it's exactly centered pitch. Okay, without any sort of weird balloon in the center, and then add the tongue. Okay, and harmonics. Everybody know about harmonics? Great. There are many, many resources for that, and I'm going to defer to your teachers on that because that could be a whole 20-minute presentation on its own. And then I believe Don Bailey is going to talk about long tones, so I'm going to let him do that. And then there are flutter tones, long tones. How many of you practice long tones? Flutter tongue long tones? Yeah, okay. So everybody, if you don't know how to flutter tongue, I'm going to do it really quickly. It's the Spanish R, or like gargling. So you can definitely do one or the other, okay? Some people can do both. Don't worry, you can definitely do one or the other, okay? So let's do that on, let's see, so like the Moise exercise that everyone's going to have a variation of, including Don. He's going to teach you the pure one, and I'm going to teach you the flutter tongue version. So let's go from C to B. About 4 beats for each note. Everybody try it with me. 1, 2, ready, go. Excellent. So this is going to make sure if you hear any little blips in your sound, if it goes away, it's because you stopped the air. Okay? Plus it's fun, right? And siblings? Yes? Any? Annoy them with it. All right. Okay, the next is long tones for vibrato practice, and I'm going to defer to Rebecca on that because she's doing the lyrical etude this year. There are many different ways to do that, and it is very essential for your practice. And after that, octave slurs with tuner.
That's my daughter.
Okay, so everybody knows that low notes, their tuning tendency is to be. And high notes, their tuning tendency is to be cool. I had some students once before, very good technicians, but one of them insisted that the low notes are just that way and thought we should leave them in their natural state. But remember, you're supposed to be, if you're always a work of art, but you should also be a work in progress, yes? Okay, so when you first turn on that tuner, you're not going to like what you see. You need to think of it as your very best friend, because a best friend functions as a mirror. They're very blunt when they know that something is wrong. And so if you don't want to look at the mirror because you don't want to see where your flaws are, well, you might go around like this. You'll never know. So the mirror is your best friend. The mirror is the thing that says, hey, there's something out of place there. You should probably try to fix it. Okay, so you'll get your tuner out, and we're going to do it together, and I'm going to pretend that we have our tuner right now. But what I want you to do first is start on your low D. You're going to play your middle D, your high D, and then the middle one again, and then back down, something like. I think of half notes, and you know, that's the first time I've done those today. And if I was looking at the tuner, I wouldn't like my tone or my tuning at that point. So that's where the work comes in. Everybody try it with me. D's. 1, 2, ready, go. Now it's important that you look at the tuner while you do this, okay? You try to equalize the tone, so you don't let the low notes be soft because they like to be softer. You don't let the high notes scream at people just because that's their natural state. You don't let the high notes be sharp. You try to fix them, and it's very tedious, okay? But it is very worth it because you'll train your ears with the tuner, and eventually when you're away from the tuner, you'll start to hear it, okay? And then, very last thing that is so important for your technique is scales, okay? So that's where we jump right into the etude, okay? Everybody can see it over there? Great. Okay, so what key are we in? G. The first etude? What? 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 All right. I'll tell you in just a second why you might have said that, but anything other than E minor, okay? So our E minor scale, if you don't know your minor scales, I'm going to pretend for a second that you don't know your minor scales because that is certainly true for some people. If you look at the key signature, it shares the same key signature as G major, yes? So we call these relatives, okay? And I like to think of it as the key signature being our genes or the traits that we inherited from our parents or something. So that's how I remember that term, okay? They share the same key signature. They are relatives, okay? So the E minor scale, the G major scale, they have the same key signature. And so let's play our G major scale really quickly. We're not going to do the whole thing for sake of time. We're just going to do one octave, and we're going to go just like that. 1, 2, ready, go. Great. Now, very easily, if you wanted to find the relative minor of that scale, tell me the 6th note of that scale. E. That's how they're related, okay? So now we're going to start on E and play from E to E with that same key signature. We're going to do exactly what we just did, starting on E. 2, ready, go. Great job, okay? Now to get to the harmonic minor, you're going to make the 7th note sharp. That note is D sharp. Okay, so let's do that. 2, ready, go. This is my favorite version of the minor scales. That is the E harmonic minor scale. Now for the melodic form, you raise the scale degree 6 and 7. For the okay, so they're telling me in the back I don't talk loud enough. Okay, so the people in front will say, she yelled. Okay, so anyways, what was I saying? Okay, let's do the melodic minor on the way up only. Okay, so you're going to have C sharp and D sharp, but you're still going to have B natural. What? Okay. You're still going to have G natural. Just kidding. Okay, let's try it. 2, ready, go. Stop. Okay, on the way down, everything goes back to its natural form. That's the melodic minor scale. Got it? Okay, good. You're going to have to practice these a lot, okay? And another theoretical thing to consider is the most important chord in E minor, etude, is E minor. Okay, and then the next most important chord is based on the 5th note of the scale, which is going to be a B major chord, okay? And so I don't think that I would point to any section here and really say that he transitions to the key of B major, but he certainly does flirt with the 5th note of the scale, which is the dominant, okay? So you should probably learn your B major scale as well, but I will not make you do that right now in this class, okay? So then you start to recognize patterns, like your arpeggios and scales in this etude. You're going to decide on your A sharp fingerings, okay? For this etude, in every measure, you're going to use lever A sharp except for one, okay? So now I'm going to talk about the only one where it's not that, okay? And that's going to be measure 21. Here we go to measure 21. You're going to want to use your thumb B flat key or your round thumb key in that measure, okay? So A sharp will be where you use your your round thumb key or B flat key. Those are the terminologies most common, okay? So then after that, your breaths are mostly marked. But as you can see on the screen here, I've marked some parenthesis breaths. Parenthesis breaths are going to be like where you could breathe if you were going slower or when you're practicing, or if you're in the performance and you did intend to make a long phrase, but you know when you're getting to that half breath that you're not going to make the full phrase, you take it there. So we can refer to those as what we call safety breaths. It's good to mark in your safety breaths. And you're all going to have access to this, I think, after the class, so it's not so important that you focus on marking it right now unless you think you can do it really quickly. So begin chunking it with the metronome. This is the part you came here for, okay? Now, I have one controversial thing. When you're outside of this class, I want you to sight read the entire etude without stopping, okay? And then, this is important, never do it again, okay? So pretend you've already done that. Now we're diving into the work, okay? So what we're gonna do first is we're gonna learn how to chunk it. There are many ways to do this, okay? No one living invented it, okay? It's in many old flute treatises. We all use some version of it. Bel canto flute has some stuff in there. Kincaidiana has some stuff in there. Patricia George has some stuff. But everyone has their own unique approach to it, and your teacher might not like the way that I do it, and I'll defer to them on that. It's important that you cast a large net of resources, though. So what I would do first is I would treat the first phrase as being the first note all the way to the note before the next breath, okay? So that phrase, you can see it, yeah? And then I would try to play the whole thing. That's where the sight reading comes in, okay? But maybe you don't get that far. So then you need to do like tiny parts. So what I would like to do is work from the tiniest part to the biggest part, okay? First you could start, we're gonna use the first measure as an example, okay? Just the first measure, not the two pickup notes, okay? So you could start on that first measure, and your smallest part could be 3 notes. So what you're gonna do is think group plus 1 or beat plus 1, okay? So in this case, I want you to think of the downbeat being a B, and we're gonna go D, da, da. Got it? Everybody comfortable with that? Let's try it. 1, 2, ready, go. Again, ready, go. Good. Now your second tiny chunk is gonna be F sharp to B. Let's try it. It'll sound like, everybody got it? So you repeat the last note that you just played. 2, ready, go. Now, if you're a scientific brain like me, here's why that is effective, okay? Think of a fence. You have a post, you have another post, you have boards or wire that goes across. Which ones do you put up first? The posts. So those downbeats are your posts, okay? And your brain doesn't get that the things between the posts are connected unless you give them that common point, okay? So really, you're kind of programming your brain. It's really important that you program it accurately, otherwise you'll have to always be updating the software, like some places that are always updating their software to get rid of bugs. Okay, so then that's an example of the smaller chunk, okay? Now we're gonna do a bigger chunk. That's gonna be 4 notes plus 1, okay? So we're gonna go, try it, 2, ready, go. Again, make sure it's F sharp, E natural, ready, go. Good, now let's do the next chunk. What note does it start on? B, and then we're gonna end on the next octave of B. Let's try it, it'll sound like, 2, ready, go. Everybody get how to practice that rhythm? Yeah? Okay, well, Don Bailey is going to show you a lot about subdividing, so I'm going to skip that and let you look at what he has to say about that. But now I do want to go back to those first two notes and go. Let's try it. 1, 2, ready, go. Great. So there we are. We're covering all of those little chunks. When you get to the point where your chunk is 8 notes plus 1, or 4 notes plus 1, no mistakes, that's when you start doing like 8 notes plus 1. So let's do that first measure again. 2, ready, go. So for some of you, you need to repeat that until you can do it without any wrong notes at least 10 times in a row, okay? So remember, it's F sharp and E natural all the way through. Let's try it. Again, ready, go. Much better. All right, so then you do that. You do all of the things that look like that in this etude, including measure 9. You see it? Okay? And so then after you've accomplished your chunks, your biggest chunk then would be the entire phrase, right? And I want you to recognize in this piece also that the counterpoint is really clever. So I'm going to give you some ways to practice that. Chunking, I'm looking at my outline, okay? So the counterpoint. Okay, so how can you practice the counterpoint and the accompaniment? If you don't know what I'm talking about, sometimes you have the melody and your pianist kind of has pa 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 pa, and you're like all over the place, yeah? Okay, so you have the melody, they have the accompaniment. In this etude, you have to be both. So let's tackle the melody first. And an easy way to do that would just be the first note of every beat. And we're going to count the beats as though we're talking about 8th note beats or quarter note beats for right now. Okay? Y'all see what I'm doing? First note of every beat. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to do that, but we're going to slur it. No tongue. 2, go. One more time. 1, 2, go. Now you've got your air, and you can put the whole thing together. So if you're counting the 8th notes, you would be. Okay, eventually, okay, but at the beginning you could go. Try the whole thing, eventually it'll be. And that brings us to the next thing. Never go fast before you're ready, okay? So that's an example of how to chunk that measure, okay, and many others, okay? So now if you'll look with me at measure 10. It becomes a really big break in pattern. And so where's the melody? It's not so simple as the first note of every beat. And you can see how I've kind of marked it there. The melody is really. Can y'all see it? Okay, let's do it slow. So da bum ba 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 ba. You know it with me? Do that with me? 2, ready, go. Now we're going to practice the accompaniment. That's going to be. Yeah, easy part. Let's try it. 2, ready, and go, and 1. I always like to go to the downbeat. Remember that. It's very important, okay? So then, let's try to put it together. Do you need to look at that accompaniment? No. Focus on the melody. And just trust that you can just quickly memorize that B and G, and then it changes to C and A. Let's try it. 2. So I'll demonstrate first, sorry. 2, ready, go. Good. So that concept applies to then measure 12, 13, 14, and you can see all those patterns and start to learn it very quickly, okay? There are lots of different articulations in here. Sorry, not a ton, but there are 3 main ones. The accents, I just want to quickly say, you should do them as gut puffs. The gut puffs are really teaching you how to do a crisp, clean staccato, how to begin any note correctly, and you add the tongue later when all of that is ready to go. And so then I think I need to go to, you'll get a lot more information on the handout that they're attaching at the end of this, and I'll also post it on my website eventually, probably later this week, okay? So the next thing then is the expressive part of it, the fermatas, okay? So if you see that you're allowed some liberty in one section, you might decide that it's okay to do it today, only that first time when you're sight reading, okay? And then never do it again until you have it in rhythm, okay? And you are ready for that step. Let your teacher be the one that decides that, okay? So that you don't skip anything. So those things happen in measure 7, okay? So here in measure 7, we have but I would not practice it that way if I had never played this etude. I would go so okay, right in time. So let's just isolate it to that little group. Let's try it. Ready, go. But now we're going to take out the grace note because that's too much too soon. Ready, go. Good. Now, once you can play that in time, then you're going to decide how long you want to hold that fermata, okay? Other consideration, the reason for that is you place the fermata on its correct location in the rhythmic hierarchy. You don't want that fermata to sound like a downbeat for simple reason that it's not. And so if you think of it as kind of a suspension, so like it's like those movies where they can slow it down and make people, they sort of slow it down while they're in midair so you can see how fancy their martial arts kicks are or their jumps are. It's kind of like that, okay? So then 2 ways of doing it. The note after the fermata can be considered part of the new tempo. And if you do it that way, okay, and your teacher will have one preference or another. It's important not to argue. Practice all the preferences and decide towards the end. And the other one would be that you take a little more time with the entire little idea and just sort of make the downbeat of the next measure where the tempo changes. Something like that eventually. Okay, so after that, I need to cover the biggest expressive measure. Has anyone found it yet? Measure 21. So, if you'll do it with me, we're going to use our thumb B flat key. We're going to do one big group plus one note. Let's try it. Starts on G, ends on A sharp. Thumb B flat key for that. Ready? Go. Make sure you have C sharp, A sharp, G natural. Okay, again, ready, go. Good. And then, so let's pretend you did all that. You would go. And then slowly, the downbeat is finally a downbeat fermata, so you can make it really strong. But the other ones are like suspended midair. Someone paused the TV screen or something, or put it on slow-mo for someone who's in a midair jump, okay? So then they become extra downbeat after that. Right? And there are many versions that you will have of that later on. So, where are we now? We've covered that, the tempo changes, the fermatas. And then tempo changes, fermatas, exaggerate. Oh, and eventually you're going to really want to polish your dynamics by exaggerating them. This thing goes from pianissimo or pianissimo all the way to forte. Okay? So you're going to want to practice playing every single thing that you do, including your warm-ups, both soft and loud and medium, without going flat on any of them or without losing the core of your sound. Okay? So then I just wanted to go over a few more little things before you do that. This is very operatic, this one. It's like a really athletic opera aria. Okay? So true artistic expression and skill on a wind instrument comes from song and dance. Other art forms plus a bit of your own imagination and who you are as a person. The poetic reference here, elegy, happens to be a song for the dead. So that kind of gives you your storyline. And if we see it from one point of view, it can maybe capture the various stages of grief when you lose a loved one, or you could choose to view it as a sort of scenes from their life, maybe a life that was full of variety, lots of ups and downs, and you could also think of the idea that maybe there are some joyful moments because in some cultures they think of leaving this place as a happy occasion because you're going to somewhere better. And so there are moments of sadness, but I think there are also moments of joy in this piece of music. So then, last I want to say, practice and perform with intention. Your heart should be in it, and you may imagine collecting all the energy and power that you possess and sending it to your audience, sort of like a Care Bear stare. Does anybody know that cartoon? Okay, we'll look it up after the thing. Okay, so your Care Bear sending the Care Bear stare to your judges or your audience, okay? So it'll all be in the handout. You can look up whatever you don't get. Okay, so you want to make the judges feel your love of music and the composer's intent instead of distracting them with the intellectual part, like fundamentals, if they're unprepared. You should imagine that you're the performer who makes judges recall why they decided to dedicate their lives to the craft of music. You should also seek to inspire the judges. Think of your performance as a handmade gift that you've been working on for months, and the performance time is the moment that you give it away, kind of like that Care Bear stare. Okay? Emote. Tell a story. Be vulnerable. Embrace some unique to you flair, and have fun preparing. Are there any questions about this etude that you would like me to address? No one? Okay. So I wanted to go over something that I did not say before, and that is the accents. You're going to do them with your tummy muscles, yes? Okay. But then you don't want them to sound violent. Okay, that's important. So a violent accent would be like, we don't want that, right? So if you could think of those as kind of leaning on the notes, that's going to be a much more artistic approach to it because there is no violence in this etude. That's important to mention. Okay? And then I want to say I need somebody to tell me the time. Do I have any more minutes?
You got 9 more minutes.
9 more minutes. Okay, great. Okay, so why don't we do we want to learn the section where I talked about B major coming up. That is measure 18. Okay, so if you wonder where that came from, that's a B major arpeggio, y'all. So, B major inspired, okay? So we're going to do our chunks. Let's try it. 2, ready, and go. Make sure it's F sharp. Key signature note, F sharp. Try it again. 2, ready, go. Make sure it's F sharp. Again, ready, go. Now you got it, okay? Next group, ready, go. Now you want to look at the error there, and you should mark them all on your music, but that low The last note of that group is going to be a D sharp. Okay, so, and then you go to D natural. Okay, so let's try it again. Ready, go. And then you can begin putting them together. Okay, other little considerations in measure 9. Okay, you've got a G major arpeggio, but it starts on a D. Okay, let's do our G major arpeggio, GBD. GBD, ready, go. Again, go. Now, if you look at that passage and you see all the non-G's, B's, and D's, you'll realize that that is not a G major chord. That's going to be an E major 7th chord. So let's do that again. E, G, B, D. Ready, go. Good. Glad I caught that before somebody sent me angry emails. Okay, so you look at what are the non-chord tones in that pet section. There aren't any. Now it's your E minor chord, okay? It's an E minor 7th chord. So after that, scanning. Anybody know where it changes key to G major? Or cadences in G major? Have you found it? That's going to be measure, anybody got it? Measure 17, do you see it? So how do we get there? Well, he gradually adds some accidentals and things like that, and eventually G major starts to sound like the most prominent note of the section. So he goes ahead and ends there with the cadence, okay? Other things I left out. I'm glad I have those extra minutes that I went so fast I didn't know I would have. I want to talk about the unique rhythms. We already covered the first 2. But then you have that first rhythm with grace notes sometimes. I want you to go to measure 5 and look at the last little slur. Do you see it? Let's do it like that without the grace note. Ready, go. Great. And now you're going to squish that grace note before the E. Try it. Ready, go. Okay, but only when your teacher says, yes, you may now add grace notes, okay? But that's how you would do it. Always practice without the grace notes. Then if you look at the end of that line, measure 6, you have another rhythm. These are 8th note triplets, but when you're counting 8th notes, they will sound like quarter note triplets. So here's your 8th note. Can you try just the triplets with me? Okay, ready, go. Yes, so this is why it's very important that you always use the metronome. Always, always, always. Raise your hand if you've ever been the kid that said, well, I was going to get the notes first and then use the metronome. Raise your hand if you've ever said that to your teacher. Stop doing that. Rhythm first, okay. So then there are the other rhythms. We've already covered the one in measure 11, 10 actually. And then when it breaks pattern, okay, in measure 13 right here, you see it? You've got, right? Those are exact ratios, okay, a 1-to-2 ratios. You want to make sure it's really, really, really in rhythm. What I want to do is start on that C sharp where I started, right here. Can we do that? Okay, it's right here. Then just measure, zooming out. 13. Okay. The measure with the mezzo forte sign. So, ready, go. Now we broke my rule. What were we supposed to do that we didn't do? +1. So now that we can see the whole thing, we're going to go to that G. Let's try it again. Ready, go. One more time for the right notes. C sharp, okay, D sharp, E natural. Ready, go. One more time. Ready, go. Great. So the measure under it has the same idea. And then in measure 15, you have a new rhythm. So you're thinking 4, 4, 3, 3. Okay? Look at measure 15. Third beat of the measure, starting on D. Do you see it? Okay, so you'll put your metronome on and go. Right? Got it? So let's try just the first little chunk of that. Ready, go. Start on the G sharp and end on the A. Ready, go. Okay, good. And then this next A. Ready, go. And then on the D, going to the next measure. Ready, go. Good, and then you can start putting the whole thing together. Very important, last note of that entire page. Every time I've ever judged this, kids cut that note in half, okay? So pay really close attention to all the rhythms. I think we actually covered them all. So, of course, there's no way to cover everything on this etude in the first lesson. So you'll have all of our handouts, PDFs, recordings, and I just want to quickly say, I want you to cast a large net. Go to every masterclass, listen to every teacher, collect the information, compile it, and if you see or hear commonalities, then that's going to be what your judging panel wants. And if you're ever not sure, what is the decider? Who's the decider? Do you know? People might argue about this, but I would say let the deciding interpretation be the one that is presented by TMEA. All right? And so that's your best resource. And consider everything else additional. Okay, thank you so much.
All right, moving on to the etude, will be known as etude number 2 for what, a few months now. Instead of calling it etude 1, etude 2, etude 3, can we use the composer's name? So the composer's last name on this is Anderson. This is from his etude book, Opus 21, his number 21. This is the 13th etude in this book. And guess what? They have the whole Anderson etude book for sale here. Working on an etude for 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, just 3 etudes, that's not what etudes are intended for. That's just how we do it in Texas. But what etudes originally were written for was for you to play an etude for a week, maybe 2. Learn some very difficult technical things that are hard on the flute, or maybe something lyrical. Learn how to breathe, learn how to phrase this, learn how to do this really tricky fingering, or learn different rhythms, and they focus on that one etude. And then you play it. You spend 2 weeks on it, and then you move on. That's what etudes are for. So the whole book of the Anderson etudes is here, and they're all in different keys, and you can just play through those etudes, and that is how you become an incredible musician, technically, lyrically, breathing, all the different aspects we're talking about today. So this is sort of like a little bibliography. By the time you finish high school, you'll have 12 etudes, each from a different collection. Buy those collections, find them online. Some of them, are online, but buy the books here. Great editions are here, and you can work through the books and learn the etude. Also, we have cuts here. This second etude, we cut off the rest of it because it does repeat, but it does do something different. So it's worth your while to play the entire etude. I have it cut off here, but learn the entire etude. Do yourself a favor. You're going to get bored after a few months, right? So just, learn it, and then you'll have that expansion to learn, to draw from. All right, so the thing that we are going to learn on this etude first and foremost is counting, because what is so zoomed in on, so to speak, on the slow etude is counting, because who do you have judging you back there? Are they flute professionals? Sometimes they are. Percussionists, that's right. You've got band directors, right? And sorry, band directors out there, but you guys really nail us on rhythms, and we're flute players. we love to be flute players, right? And expand on those rhythms. So we want to play musically, but there's a difference between playing musically and playing the wrong rhythm, and playing musically and playing the right rhythm. So right now, whenever you're learning this etude, what you need to do is to learn it very, oh my gosh, almost robotically, okay? Learn those rhythms, practice it with a metronome, and it's one thing to listen to it and play it and go, oh yeah, I know how it goes. No, you need to know this etude in and out to be able to count it, to be able to move with it, feel it, and feel that beat change, because the band directors are listening, and that is the one thing that they can zoom in on, all right? Also, in that regard, they don't know all of the pitfalls about what, like Cecilia was saying, in the low register. Oh my gosh, that's so hard to get out this note or whatever. Don Bailey always says, we do not serve the flute, we serve the music. So whatever has to be done in on your flute to make the music do what the composer intended, you need to figure out how to do that. You can't just say, oh no, the flute plays soft and low register. The band director is back there, or the judges want to hear the low register being loud. Okay, they don't know that it's hard unless they're a flute player. Okay, so I need a stream right here. Whenever we stand up, I need to make sure that this aisle is clear. So if this side could kind of move to that side, and this side could kind of move to that side, and let's all stand up. All right, how's that? All right, so the first thing we need to understand is the difference between a duple and a triple meter, all right? All of the children's songs we learned, I have a background in early childhood music, and it serves me very well in the flute world. All of our songs that we learned when we were a child were either in duple or they were in triple. So duple is marching. Everybody, we know marching, right? Everybody march. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. But this piece isn't in 4/4, is it? I'm going to zoom in. What is the time signature of this piece? 3/4, right. So this is a triple. Ready? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Everybody do it. 1, 2, 3. Say it with me. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Good. Now we're going to slow that beat down a little bit. 1, 2, 3. 1. Do it with me. 2, 3. March. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Now 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And stop. We have just waltzed. Congratulations. Now, if we were to count 16th notes to that, we would go 1 E, 1 E and a 2 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a. Say that with me. Go. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a. Stop. But we not only have 16th notes in this piece, we have triplets. All right? So the triplets in this piece, we're going to go 1 lolly, 2 lolly, 3 lolly. Say that with me. 1 lolly, 2 lolly, 3 lolly. 1 lolly, 2 lolly, 3 lolly. That's not a marching feel. That is a rocking feel. Everybody rock. Rock. 1 lolly, 2 lolly, 3 lolly. 1 lolly, 2 lolly, 3 lolly. 1 lolly, 2 lolly, 3 lolly. Stop. So it's the difference between, oh, the grand old Duke of York, he had 10,000 men, and row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. There's a completely different feel, right? Okay, everybody have a seat. So, what I want everybody to do is we're going to play in the key of, oh yeah, this piece is in G flat major, right? Okay, so we're going to play a G flat. Everybody play that. G flat is enharmonic to F sharp. We're not going to call it an F sharp. We're going to call it a G flat because it is a G flat, but it is fingered like an F sharp, right? Serves a different function than an F sharp does. So we're going to play a G flat. Everybody hold it. want you to tap your foot. Tap, 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 tap. I want you to tongue 16th notes. Ta 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 ta. Ready and go. Thank you. Now we're going to tongue triplets. All right. 1 lolly, 2 lolly, 3 lolly. Everybody tongue that. Ta 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 ta. Go. Good. All right. So that's kind of our beat. 1, 2, 3. 1. Everybody conduct with me. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Down, away, up. Down, away, up. Stop. Raise your hand if you conduct yourself in anything that you have practiced in your practice. Anybody conduct? Thank you. I see some of the older ones here going, yep, yep. Some of the younger ones, congratulations. That is one of the best ways to feel the music. So when I'm studying this music, which you should all sit down and look at it and digest it, all right? You look at it and you say, okay, I'm going to hear this in my head. When the notes go up, I'm going to hear the notes go up in my scale. When I see the triplets, I'm going to conduct myself, and I'm going to hold this ya-da-da-da-da-da-da, ya-da-da-dum, da-da-da-da-dum, ba-da-da-da-da-da-da. I'm a horrible conductor, but I feel it, right? You see the passion, right? So 3-da-da-dum, ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-dum, ba-dum, ba-da-da-da-ya-da-da-dum, ba-da-da-da-da-da-dum. See how I'm doing the dynamics? All right? I'm feeling that. That's how you feel that on the flute. And we all want to play this with feeling. All right? So when we learn it robotically, are we going to play it for the audition robotically? No, you know that. So give yourself some grace in the beginning. Play it very metronomically, but always have that underlying, okay, I'm going to be playing it like this. I'm going to be conducting. I'm going to be feeling that. All right, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to play the dotted notes. All right, and there are 2 kinds of dotted notes. One has a dot with a 16th note, and one is the first note of the triplet, and then a 16th note on the end. The second note of the triplet, the third note of the triplet, sorry. So the first note of the triplet, the third note of the triplet. I'm going to zoom in here on measure 7. Everybody look at measure 7. Okay, so we have the rhythm of the 1, a 2, right? I call that the achoo rhythm. 1, achoo! Kind of sounds like that, right? Okay, so I want everybody to play on a C flat. What's a C flat enharmonic to? Anyone? Tell me. B natural, that's right. Is it a B natural? No. Let me hear that. Is it a B natural? No, it's a C flat, but it is fingered like a B natural, right? So everybody finger your C flat, all right? And we're going to play that achoo rhythm, the dotted 8/16 on a C flat. Ready? Go. Good. I'm going to take a little breath in there. Go. Right, and what rhythm follows that? It's a triplet, right? That's tricky, all right? Because what happens is that we play that triplet too fast. We can't do that, all right? So we have to think 1, a 2 lolly. Everybody say that, go. 1, a 2 lolly. Play that on a C flat, please. Ready, and go. Good. Again, and go. Good. All right. Now the next part I'm going to zoom in on is down here and measure 21. And if you can see right here, we've got, sorry, not 21. That's the one that I was referring to. That is still the dotted 8/16, even though there's a rest. I am referring to measure 24. Measure 24 is right here. You see that triplet? That is not the same thing as the dotted 8/16. All right? So the difference between those two is that, and my percussionist husband back there is probably going to scream, is that the difference between this one Oh, that's a very broad one. All right. The difference between this rhythm and this rhythm is that this note is longer. All right. And it comes a little earlier. All right. And that's what they're wanting to hear. Okay. So everybody count 1, 2, lead 3. Ready, go. 1, 2, lead 3. So I'm saying the law in my head. 1, 2, lead 3. Everybody say that? 1, 2, lead 3. All right. Play that on a C flat, please. Just like that, putting 2, la, lead 3, and then we're going to leave it out. Ready, go. Now leave out the middle note. 1, 2, lead 3. Ready, go. That's it. So we have the difference between those two rhythms, and that's really important to bring out. All right, the next thing that we're going to look at is the G flat major scale. All right, I always like to do scales, especially for the slow etude, slowly. All right, so we're going to do a little bit of harmony here. This is going to be fun. We're going to take this half of the room, and we're going to start you guys on half notes. We're just going to play the scale to, yeah, this doesn't go very high, does it? Hey, we don't have to play a high G flat. Did y'all notice that? Isn't that great? Woohoo! All right, we're going to start on this half of the room, and we're just going to go 1 octave G flat scale. All right, 1 octave G flat scale in half notes, and this half of the room is going to start after they play 2 notes, and it's going to be really pretty, really harmonic. You're going to go up and then down the scale. Ready? G flat scale. Ready and go. G flat, A flat. Now you guys. G flat. What a gorgeous sound that all was. And I hope you guys joined us at home on the live stream with that. You could also just get yourself set for the scale by playing your triplets or your 16th notes like that. All right. So we've got the rhythm down. What should you do? You should go through and you should count it. The whole thing. Trust me. If you need to print it out and use it as a worksheet and write in all of the counts, your band directors would go, oh, what a model student. Oh my goodness. She wrote in all the counts. Let me copy that so I can give it to all the flute players. And you go, no. All right. But seriously though, write in the counts. Count it if you need that. Just count through the whole thing with a metronome. One thing that I like to give y'all on this is a metronome marking to start out with. Okay, I have what I use is like a number line, and I say, okay, these are the tempos. You're going to start out at this, and you're going to end on this. This is our goal. So like on the fast etudes, I have, okay, we're all going to start at like the 8th note equals 60, really slow, right? And we're going to practice it very methodically like that. On this one, we don't have that wide of range. So if I were to start practicing this, I'd go. Ya da 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 da. Maybe 45, something very slowly like that. So it'd be like a. And I'd take it just measure by measure, chunk by chunk. If I started at measure 10, I would go. 1E and a 2E and a 3. And I just stop right there. Now, this gives me a little bit of a, I need to talk about the ties. Because the ties are like really, really important, okay? So if I'm looking at this tie, how many 16th notes are inside of a quarter note? 4, that's right. So I would just mark 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 little tick marks plus the tie, that's gonna be 5. So if I were to tongue that on our tie, Everybody play that measure, measure 10, and I want you to tongue it. Ready, and go. Yeah, and that's that D flat. Guess what? You're going to need to tune that. That's one of the pitfalls of this piece, is that that D flat is a lot of times very out of tune. All right, so please work with your tuner on this. Is the D flat usually high or low? High, right. And you can tell because if you're in tune, you're in tone. You have your best tone when you're in tune. So if you hear, you're like, oh yeah, that doesn't sound too great, right? Here, play a D flat. Bravo, now play. Go. Good, now hold the note. Go. 1 E and a 2. Good, right. But are you going to use your vibrato like this? What was wrong with that? I was counting with it, right? Yeah, don't do that. I mean, it's great that you're subdividing, but no. All right, so in deciding whether to use vibrato or not in certain places is something I'm going to touch on in just a minute. All right, so we're going to look at, again, I go with studying the piece, and I think that's super important. First off, where is our first C flat? I want everybody to look for it and put your finger on it. Anybody see a C flat? That's really important to know because that's not something that we, is there one before this C flat that I missed? Oops. That's our first C flat, right? Okay. All right, so that's really important to note. And what note is the only thing that's natural in the G flat major scale? F. Correct. So whenever you're looking at this piece, I mean, you could go through and mark it, or you could just think, F is natural. I'm so glad it's not flat. Isn't that great? All right, so let's go ahead and look at the dynamics of this piece. When I break down a piece and I'm looking at it, I think about the notes, I think about the rhythms, I think about the articulations, and I think about the dynamics. I really don't think the articulations of this piece is terribly challenging, but you do need to make a note of where you tongue because that is a stylistic interpretation, and we're all going to be expecting you to tongue there. Okay, so let's look at the dynamics. First thing we do is we crescendo. So what I want you to do is practice this first measure here, okay? And I want you to practice the crescendo right off the bat. Okay, let's get comfortable with our fingers. We're fingering G flat. We're fingering B flat, D flat, E flat, G flat, B flat, D flat, E flat. Wait, those 4 notes are the same as the first 4 notes, right? Going to that F. That's our arrival point. That's also the loudest point of our dynamic, right? And we do a triplet, right? We're not doing duple, we're doing triplet after that. Triplet, D flat, and hold it. And just like Cecilia said, practice going straight through it first, all right? D flat, breathe, B flat, A flat. And that's where we're gonna stop, okay? But on the A flat, what is the dynamic where we're gonna end? Piano, right? We have to do this from the very, very beginning, all right? So, first thing, everybody play a G flat. Right, now that is the first note they're gonna hear if they start at the beginning, so we don't wanna play it like, listen to how soft I can play, right? No, and I'm sorry, you probably couldn't hear that. I was like, listen to how soft I can play. You don't want to do that. You want to start with your best tone, right? So everybody play a really great sound, but maybe not as loud as you can play. Ready? Play your D flat. Good. And when I give you the signal, I want you to change notes. Ready? We're going to do it in rhythm, but we're going to do it a lot slower. Ready? And I want you to get louder from there. Ready? Go. Wait, you didn't get softer. Now you've showed your tone, so now's the time to really show your dynamic contrast in the loud and the soft. Okay, do that again. Ready? G flat. Ready? Can y'all do that just a tad softer? Ready? Aim it. Louder, louder. Good, and that's where we're going to be soft. And it gets softer after that, right? It gets softer after that in a pianissimo, and then we get a little bit louder, but where are we going? Where is our next loudest point of this piece? It's in measure 5. We have a mezzo forte here, all right? The other thing you can practice doing once you get to know this piece is you need to practice singing it, all right? And it doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to have like a great voice or whatever, but our voice, our flute is a natural extension of our voice. All right, so as we're going da 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 da, get crazy because nobody's listening. Da 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 da, except hundreds of people online. Da 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 da. Can y'all mumble that with me? Ready? I want to hear y'all get loud. Ready? Go. Ya da 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 ba da 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 da. Ba da 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 ya da da da, ba da 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 da. This is louder, da 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 da, and this is all still loud, right? So you kind of need to map out the piece like that, and stay loud. Whenever it gets soft, go soft. Notice these things right from the very beginning. Okay, let's play this thing. All right, and let's start on the first line. So everybody play the first line, and we're going to go all the way to the first phrase, and then we're going to talk about the B flat, the 3 fingerings of B flat as we go through this, okay? So thumb B flat, 1 and 1 B flat, lever B flat. Are y'all all familiar with the lever B flat? If you're not familiar, you will be after tonight. All right, so here we go. Let's play it. Here we go. G flat, starting from the top. Stop. Your thumb should be on the B flat side. Continue. Ready? B flat. Ba da 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 da. Ba da da da. Softer. Da dum. Ba da 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 da. Stop. Now right here we have a little turn. You're going to be using the 1 and 1 B flat here because we're going up to an F. So you need to mark 1 and 1 B flat right there. 1 and 1 B flat. This should be marked. It's very hard to go from your lever to the F. So you want to make sure you're going from the 1 and 1 to the F. So G flat, B flat, making sure that it doesn't bump. Since you're going to be on the thumb already, there's no way to like roll it over. So on that breath, you have to shift your thumb to the B natural side. Okay, so it's not just a matter of what you're using and knowing that. You have to know how to prepare for it in advance. So on your breath, shift your thumb over to the B natural side and use your 1 and 1 B flat. We have a B flat, C flat, right? B flat to the A, back to the B flat. So A natural. Everybody see the natural on the bottom? So everybody play that. Ready? Ready, go. Right. So if you try to use the lever, you're going to be sliding from the lever to the F, and that's not great. So you're going to have to make sure you're not, everybody play G flat to the 1 and 1 B flat. Ready? Like that. Ready? Go. Right. So you can use the lever on that B flat and then go to the 1 and 1, but I just would use 1 and 1 all around. Okay. Then you're going to go back to your thumb whenever you're playing the D flat in measure 4. So my thumb's on the B flat side, and it's ready to go for the rest of that line until measure 6. And then you're going to roll off of it or use your lever. All right? So all the way to measure 6, roll off it or use your lever. So everybody play starting on the triplets at the end of line 1. Ready, and go. Breathe. Right, and so at the end there, you can use your lever B flat or you can use your thumb B flat. So That's where I'm talking about right there. So you can roll or go to your lever and then thumb B flat for like the whole rest of that line. Now, has anybody ever played Le Flute de Pan by Moquet? Yeah. Okay, the main problem in that piece is the triplets. Everybody just starts like rushing the triplets. All right, so you're coming from the 16th notes, and those triplets are going to feel really slow. And that's why it's so important to practice with a metronome, because our tendency is to rush through those triplets, and we don't want to do that. So I'm going to stick the metronome on here, and I want for everybody to play the last 4 notes in measure 6, so the G flat. And just make sure you're placing that first note of the triplet. I was a little bit early on that first triplet. If I'm early, guess what? Right? Okay, so make sure that you place that first note of each triplet. Just kind of hold it and give it a little bit of emphasis. These are the bones of the piece. You can practice just the first note of the triplet. A good place to do that. Okay, so here we go, starting on the G natural, the last 4 notes of measure 6. Ready, set, and go. Ya da 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 ba da. Triplet, triplet. Ah, don't rush, ah, da yum. Ba-bum. Now, right, so that's the 16th note. That's not part of a triplet, so you have to go back and subdivide that. Practice tonguing those subdivisions like that. It'll pay you royalties in the end. All right, so then we're still on our thumb B flat all the way through measure 10, all the way through measure 11, because we have a C natural there. Yay! Go C natural. All right, so then in measure 12, we're going to use the real fingering for that little grace note. And I want to hear everybody play me a D flat, but play a low D flat for me. Ready, go. Good. Now do a harmonic of that. Go. Good. I want you to land on the harmonic, so do the real fingering in the D flat for that. Can you play the harmonic for that last D flat? Ready, go. Okay, good. That's what it's supposed to sound like. All right, so if you're playing, all right, that's not gonna, you want it to sound like that harmonic, that same pitch. Now play it for real, but use the real finger. Ready, go. Right, so the harmonic will kind of train your ear. And I wanted to talk a little bit about, while we're working our way through this for the last few minutes of this piece, I wanted to talk a little bit about where to use the vibrato. I always say, emphasize or lengthen the beginning of a slur. Everybody say that. Lengthen the beginning of a slur, right? That really helps with your triplets to kind of like tone them down. But it also gives you an opportunity to really express yourself. So on those triplets in measure 7, you can vibrate on that, really the bones are the F, E flat, sorry, and then and you can really feel the vibrations there. Does that mean that the second note doesn't get any love? No, it just means that we're bringing out those connected notes, the bones of the piece. So everybody play your triplets, and I want you to bring out those top 2 notes. Okay, ready, set, and go. Yeah, and so the vibrato kind of carries over to that lower note, and we just don't want to vibrate all of them. Our vibrato is used as a tool to help us to express certain notes, to make the music flow along. All right, let's go on to this really tricky part. And the entire piece, if you're going to practice something, it's this little doodad right here, because it'll get you. All right, so we've got measure 12 going into the second ending. Where do we start the second ending on? We started on a D flat. Yay. So on the F, and your teacher may disagree with me, I'm all for this. Lift your pinky up on the F. It's not an E natural. E natural needs your finger down, but it's an F. So pick your pinky up and get it set and ready to go for that D flat. Does anybody disagree? Okay, good. All right, so we have F, go down to that D flat. Everybody play F, D flat. Ready, go. Again, go. Good, that's so beautifully. In an old Flute Talk magazine, there was a piece called the Pinky Polka. And I love using that during the summer for my flutes because we're just like moving around the D flat, the C area. Pinky Polka, it's a great piece. All right, so everybody plays starting on the B flat after the breath. By the way, if you're playing something and your teacher asks you to like, oh, start playing this measure or whatever, it's always nice to start after the breath. Start at the beginning of the phrase, okay? So that's generally after the breath. So we're gonna go. Let me hear everybody do that. You all sound like All-Staters already. Ready? Here we go. Set on the B flat. Go. 1. That's it. And there's a little accent there that could definitely be used with your vibrato. You can really emphasize that. And we've got a double dotted note. So if I'm going to mark that, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, ba. That's going to be on the 8th one. Okay, so I'm going to tongue. Like that. That's how I'm going to count that. All right, so everybody do that on their A flat. You at home too, join us with that. Ready? A flat, we're going to tongue it 7 times, play the G, go to the A flat. We're going to tongue 1, 2, 3, 4, breathe, da, da, da. Okay, ready? And go. On. What do you use here? You use your lever right there. Lever B flat, because we have to go to that C flat. Then on the somewhere in there, I roll over to the B flat because I love the thumb B flat. It's my friend. All right, so I'm going to use the thumb B flat for the rest of the time there. So I'm going to use lever in measure 16 and continue using lever on that. Yeah, you don't have to roll over to the thumb. That's just kind of me. Sorry about that. Okay, so you're staying on lever through this whole thing. Sorry about that. All right, then we're going to do, at the end of measure 20, we're going to do 1 and 1 on that triplet. Or do you play that? Last note in measure 20, play the triplet, triplet, A flat, ready, go. That's it, okay. So it continues in this way until we get to measure 26. This is a little lento section, and I would suggest that you ask your teacher how you want to play this. Everybody's going to be a little individual on this. You need to just change tempos. Ba, da, da, tom. Make sure the subdivisions are there. Stomp. Everybody do that and stomp and play the B flat. With your 1 and 1 ready, and go stomp. This is the last thing. I want to hear you guys stomp. Ready? Do it again. Ready? And go stomp. Stomp. Good. And this is a cadenza however you'd like to play it. And then that's going to be up to your teacher. But again, practice it in tempo. So who feels like you can play through this entire piece? Raise your hand. Oh, come on, you guys. You can't play through this entire piece right now. Not up to tempo. Just hack your way through it. Who can hack their way through it? Yeah, I want some more confidence here, okay? All right, you guys. I'm going to end the second etude here, which is not the second etude. It's the Anderson. And we're going to go over to the Karg-Ehlert. All right? Karg-Ehlert. This piece is going to be taught by Miss Rebecca Chapman. Back here, you guys are so lucky. I am so excited to have her here working with you guys. And this is a fabulous piece. All right, take it away, Rebecca.
Thank you. You guys sound great. so professional. I'm sitting in the back listening, and I think I might teach the next level up. I have a feeling you're all going to get the notes, and if you look at this, there's not much rhythm to worry about. We have mostly the same rhythm, except for the very last bar, except right here. Take a look at this time signature. Raise your hand if you've, oh, did it work? Yeah, okay, raise your hand if you've ever seen this time signature in band. Okay, you've seen this time signature in band? Well, good job to your band teacher. All right, so if anyone's getting nervous, 2/8 plus 3/8 equals 6/16. Well, that's not what it means. This is what it means. The first bar, we're going to feel in 2/8, and we're going to conduct it together like this. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so we're going to count our 6/16 notes, and we're going to conduct in 2. Ready? Here we go. First bar, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Perfect. You guys are professionals. All right, so the first 4 bars are all the same that way. Do you see how they're grouped 3/16 here? Let's see if I can use this. Okay. No. Okay. Learning curve here. Thanks, guys. Okay, 3/16, 3/16, right? We all are on the same page. Okay, next bar, same or different? What is it? Ready? Same or different? Raise your hand if it's same. Same. It is the same. So we're going to feel this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How about bar 3? Same or different? Raise your hand for same. Same. Raise your hand for different. It's same. Good job, team. Okay, what about bar 4? Same or different? Raise your hand for same. Good. Okay, so bar 5. Let's see. How do I get it to move? Does anyone know? I need help, yeah. How do we get out of the drawing feature? I know. I'm a grandma. Sorry, folks.
Check mark.
There we go. Thank you. Okay, bar 5. Here we are. Bar 5, same or different? Raise your hand for same. Raise your hand for different. Oh, you guys are pros. We can all go home. You're ready to conduct. Okay, so you guys know now that I'm not super iPad trendy, so I won't make too many markings. So follow along. We're going to do the first 8 bars, and you're going to conduct either 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or how would we conduct the 3/8? Anyone want to take a stab at it? Yes, you know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, that's our 3/8 bar. Let's all conduct that. You ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And let's put our emphasis on the right syllable. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so starting from the beginning, we've got 4 bars of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then moving to bar 5, then we move to our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is everyone ready? Okay, conducting test, here we go. Ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, excellent. So, you know the most important part of this etude. The most important part of this etude is knowing if you are going to be in 2/8 or if you're going to be in 3/8. So I ideally would like to mark it. Oh, I got this. So in the orchestra world, oftentimes we'll mark duple meter with a line. That should be straight. Okay, and then triple meter we'll mark with a triangle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to mark these bad boys. And then we go to the next bar. What's the next bar? Duple or triple? Raise your hand for duple. Duple means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're on bar 6, 7, 8, 9. Everyone see that here? Duple, raise your hand for duple meter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, raise your hand for triple meter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, you guys are professionals. Okay, so let's scooch through this since everybody understands. And if you don't understand, that's okay. Come talk to me afterwards. So this one, duple. What about this next one? Duple or triple? Someone shout it out. Duple. Next one, duple or triple? Yes. Next one? Next one? Next one? Next one? Next one? Okay. Now, guess what this one is? Oh, baby. It is a, who said hemiola? A plus, 10 out of 10. this is a hemiola where we fill 2 against 3, and we're actually going to call this, for simplicity's sake, a 3-4 bar. 1, 2, 3. 1, and 2 and 3 and, or no, yeah, you know what I'm saying. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a. Okay, now that is your introductory lesson. We're going to back up and say, let's get started on some exercises or some warm-ups. So if you're looking at this, you can tell rhythmically it's all the same, but how about the articulation? Take a look at the slurs. If you want, I can play part of it for you. And because I thought we were playing some of this. I must have missed that email. And I'm going to tell you that some of these are doozies because he changes the articulation right in the middle of it. So if you don't judge that I've only played a few minutes on it, I'll do it to just get you guys excited. Here we go. All right. Okay. You excited? Everyone's excited? So the articulation is all over the place. We've got slurs and we've got tonguing. So here are the 4 ways I want you to practice your F scale. So when you play your articulation, it's easy peasy. The first way is in our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we're going to play our F scale 2 notes slurred and 1 tongued because we see that a lot. So it's going to sound like this. Okay, ready? Flutes up. So 2 notes slurred, 1 tongue. We're here feeling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I played it way too fast. And here we go. Do. Excellent. Okay, perfect. Oh, you guys are pros. The next way in the duple meter, in the 2/8, the duple meter, is I recommend triple tonguing. My students actually find that triple tonguing is not that hard, and your flute teachers may discourage you from it, and if so, listen to them because you're paying them, so you should definitely listen to them. Here is what I would tell my students. If they were in a lesson, we would do our F scale like this. We would say, do-ku do, do-ku do, do-ku do, do-ku do. You ready? We're going to say it. Ready? Go. Do-ku do, do-ku do, do-ku do, do-ku do. Congratulations, you can all triple tongue. Easy. Okay, let's do it again. Ready? And go. Do-ku do, do-ku do, do-ku do, do-ku do. If you're curious why I'm using do and ku, you could also use all kinds of variations. You can ask me later. That's not for this particular moment. So we're going to do our F scale. We're going to do on each note, do-ku do, do-ku do, do-ku do, do-ku do. And the thing to watch out for is that your air doesn't shoot high. That often happens when we're double tonguing or triple tonguing, so just keep it aimed towards your elbow, and it should sound like this. You want to give it a shot? So, do-ku do, ready, go. Do-ku do. Okay, you guys got it. Triple tonguing, check. So those are going to be our 2 articulations that we need for our duple meter. Let's move to our triple meter, our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the first is 3 slurred sets. How about that? You ready? F scale. Slurring 2 and ready, go. Perfect. And let's see. That is okay, fine. The last one I would throw in there is I would do 2 beats for my duple meter, and I would do do-ku do do, do-ku do do, and I do it on my F scale. This is a little trickier. So if you'd like to try it, let's give it a whirl. Do-ku do do, do-ku do do. If you can do this, you can do this piece. Okay? Nice and slow. Do-ku do, ready and go now. Do-ku do do. Good. Okay, I'm happy. You guys are pros. Okay, so let's jump into this piece. First, take a look at the dynamics, guys. what do we have for our dynamics? Ugh, let's see if I can. I'm working on it. Sorry. I know you guys are all iPad Pro. I'm just going to make a bunch of lines. Yeah, you want to just help me with this? Oh, the check. Got it. Thank you. I'll take iPad lessons from you guys later. Okay, what's our dynamics? Who can help us out? Forte. Okay, what other dynamics do we have marked? Nothing. Are you going to play it that way, or are you just going to get up and play the whole thing forte? No. Why? Because we're not robots, we're musicians. So how are you going to decide what to do with your music? This is going to be one of the biggest questions out there for this particular etude. This is probably why some of the teachers are listening in. So, you guys want to hear what I would do? First thing, I asked my students, how do we want to start this? Well, it's forte. So we need to be confident, we need to be full, and it says rapido and brillante. So it's got to feel brilliant and full. So that's how we're going to start it. Okay. Then the next thing I ask my students is, where is our climax? Now you guys haven't played this, I'm assuming, so you probably don't know where the climax is. And believe it or not, I vacillated. I was like, well, I think this is the climax. And then I was like, no, this is the climax. So I'll tell you the climax that I'm feeling really great about today. But if you ask me in 2 weeks, it might be a different spot. And right now, I'm going with the climax is going to be 19 through 26. I'm afraid to mark it on the iPad for fear I'm going to make a bunch of random lines. So 19 through 26. And here's what happens to build up to it. This is what's super cool. Is we have a duple meter here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we have a triple meter, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, a duple meter, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, then a triple meter, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Notice how we're going back and forth and back and forth. And guess what that does to the rhythmic momentum? It builds, it pushes us, and we're also climbing higher. So I'm feeling it as we grow up to that point. And there's lots of great options, more options than that. So for me, 26 is an arrival point, and 19 through 26 is where we're going to feel our climax, and we're arriving up to that point. You guys want to hear it? Okay, let's see. So I'm going to start for you in bar 12. And then I want you to watch, and I want you to see if you can feel the climax. This is one of your tools to show that you can play with musicality when you get in there. We want to hear a clear climax for the most part. Now, if you're like, there is no clear climax, there's 3. Great. Then show us that there are 3 climactic moments. But we need to know, where is that moment that you're reaching for, that you're growing up to. It's a good place to start. Okay, so here's bar, I lied, 13. Okay, did you guys feel when it was 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and when it was two pulses, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? Did you guys feel it? Good. And did you feel the excitement of growing up to the climactic moment? Okay, I'm going to tell you, one of my favorite parts of this climactic moment is we have octave leaps. It's the only time we have octave leaps in here. It's so emotional. So see if you can find one. Anyone spot an octave leap? 19. See, what do we have? Almost. Yes. I'm looking for the one in 20. 20 and in 22. You're going to want to add a little bit of vibrato. We don't want to vibrate a 10 in here because, as we know, if we vibrate on runs, we sound like nanny goats. Like, here's 21, the what not to do. Okay, so we're not going to do that. We're going to vibrate intentionally, and this might be one of those moments in our climactic spot, bar 20. Listen for the sigh, the octave sigh, and then I'll keep going. You can hear it in 22. Okay, did you guys hear it? It was like, oh, I want to play that. It's so emotional. Okay, well, I hope so. All right, so let's see. It's building the momentum. And then the hemiola, the 3/4 bar. We actually have a bunch of these. All right, let's take a look at some of them. Let's see if I can use this iPad. 26, 27, 28. Here's another one.
Push the check.
Thank you. Yep, you guys just yell at me if I need to push the check. I'm kind of a pen and paper person. Can you tell? Is it gonna work? Well, maybe I need a scribe. Someone want to be my scribe. Miracles. Okay, here's a 3/4 bar. Let's see. Do you guys want to mark some of the other 3/4 bars? Let's mark some more. Here's 35. Oh, here we got my random blurbs. Another 3/4 bar. Beautiful hemiolas in here. Okay, let's see. So, it's tempting to just go through and mark all of the duple meter and the triple meter right now with our sticks and our triangles and our 3/4 bars. But if I do that, then I'm robbing you of the opportunity to sit down and analyze it for yourself. So before you play a note, the first thing I would do when I get home is to say, okay, I'm going to finish. I got some of my triangles, my sticks in. I'm going to finish all my triangles and sticks, and then watch out for those 3/4 bars as well. Okay. All right. So talking about phrasing, we have our climactic moment for now. Let's say that this is our climactic moment, and we're going to use this as a case scenario because you can use this phrasing model for any plan working up to a climactic moment. So we have our climactic moment is going to be 19 through 26 for today. So nice and big here. Ooh. Nice and full. Okay, working our way. We know we're starting forte. We already decided that. And we have 4 bars of, let's see, how do I drag it up? Okay, well, we have 4 bars of our duple meter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So what's going to be your phrasing plan in those 4 bars? Do you want me to play it? I'll play it. Okay. Because we can't just play it straight. Everyone will fall asleep, and we're not robots, we're musicians. Okay, thoughts? How would you phrase this 4-bar phrase? There's options. Any ideas? Audience participation? We have some teachers in the room. How would you phrase the 4-bar phrase? No, I don't want to put anyone on the spot. Okay, well, one option, and there's lots of options. The most important option is to have a plan that you feel makes sense and stick to it. And I'm not going to give you all the answers now because I don't want to rob you of the opportunity to go home and put this in for yourself. It's great fun. So one option would be to steadily grow. We're climbing. We've got a little sequence. Same thing, climbing, and then we have a little release. So you could release here, but you know what? Since we're flute players and it gets softer naturally, I'm not going to put that diminuendo there because it's probably going to happen on its own. Now, some students I might put it in who are really good about keeping the register stable. Okay, so that might be your first option. Then our next, we have another 4-bar phrase. I might do the same thing. Most important thing, folks, is to have a plan and then to know why you have your plan and then stick to it. If you're curious more, if you'd like to know more, I can talk later on that. Okay, then guess what? For a climax, I would just grow, baby. All the way into our climax. It's really exciting, especially since we have this sequence that just passes around and builds momentum. So do you guys know what a sequence is? Anyone know what a sequence is? We have the same thing over and over again, but just in different keys. We're hearing it, different spots. Okay, so first thing to do, we're backing up. You're going to mark your sticks and your triangles and your 3/4. Second thing to do is take a stab at some dynamics, okay? Make a dynamic plan. I often will take Rebecca's advice and I'll sing it first and I'll write my dynamic plan in before I've even played a note. Because if you always play with dynamics, then guess how you're going to play at all region? With dynamics. It's the only way you know how to play. So you can write your dynamics in before you even play a note if you sing it first. How about that? Okay, let's switch gears and go to some breathing. The first 8 bars can be done in one breath. I know because I walked up my stairs and I pulled up my flute and I didn't even warm up. And I did it in one breath and I was like, oh, yeah. So you can do it in one breath. I've played it a million times today, so I won't play it for you now for time's sake. If it's hard for you to do it in one breath, you should use the smoothie straw trick. You can go to Brahms and get their straws too. Stick it in your flute case, and if you play your passage on the smoothie straw, I brought some, but not enough for this fabulous crowd, and I can't send it through the camera. If you play your passage on a smoothie straw 3 times, I promise you, you can play it on your flute. I triple promise you. The secret is because this takes more air, but we're not going to say that. We're just going to say that this is magical and it will solve all of your breathing problems. So I promise you, you can make that. Another time when it would be good to play all 8 bars in one breath happens at 36, 37, 38 in bar 38. And you'll notice that the only errata is that after 30, it's misnumbered. So the real 38, you can play those 8 bars in one breath. I highly recommend. Okay?
Can you demonstrate playing on the smoothie straw?
Oh, yes. Okay, here we go. We'll do the opening. Let's say I was having trouble. Here we go. I'm going to play the opening. I'm using my triple tongue. If you, you guys will get to know. It should be too loud, not too loud, hopefully. So I'm going to use my triple tongue while I'm doing it. This is also great to check your air speed while you are practicing your tonguing. Because if I was not maintaining my airspeed, it was on my triple tonguing, it would sound like do 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 do. Okay, so here we go. You might have to listen really closely to hear. Look, I couldn't do it on here because I'm really trying to be loud, and so I'd have to do it a couple times. Try not to project to a whole room. But if you can do it on here, I promise it transitions to your flute. Even if you can almost do it on here, you'll be like, oh my gosh, she was right. It's so easy on my flute. So pick one of these up from Brahms. They are worth their weight in gold. All right, so that is breathing. There are a couple other breaths in here. Some are controversial, and I vacillated. I was like, oh, this is an option, this is an option. So I'm just not going to throw those out there. You can debate with your teacher. But I am going to say the 2 8-bar passages I recommend doing in one breath. I think it's very doable. Okay. Elephant traps. The points that, -1. Let's talk about those elephant traps. Pitch in the low register. We've already kind of talked about that. If I were you, I would probably, I'll tell you what my students are going to get next week. They're going to get a stack of flashcards, and it's going to be 2 things. First, it's going to be the pitch in the low register, and we're going to start with those. We'll hone in on one of these if I can. Nope, I'm not going to try to be technological. But everyone, if you can take a look at 37 and 38, the real 37 and 38. So this one is looks like it might be misnumbered. So and my chin is down. I'm so flat. My flute is freezing. So I'm just totally played that flat. So there's a bunch of options to play it in tune. I'm going to offer one. Talk with your teacher about this. But there's no need to show up and playing flat. Just like Cecilia mentioned, we just don't need to do that. So the one that my teacher gave to me, Jeannie Backstresser, she said to roll out the flute a little bit. And you don't want to roll it out too much so that you can maintain balance in your hands, but it's very flexible and it will allow you to roll out a lot. And sometimes I'll even bribe my students and say I'll give them a $5 bill if that C sharp sounds like a D. And then it sounds perfectly in tune every time. So you can, bribe yourself if you would like. So we've got low register spots. You guys want to try that? Let's do, where did we say? I'm gonna point on here. Right here. So 35, 36, and 37. Okay, we're gonna play from the F, F, A, C sharp, D, C. I know that you can't tell. It's a C because I drew on it. And we're gonna roll out just a little bit. If this is your first time doing this, your upper lip has to be nice and long so you can keep your tone. Your tone shouldn't change. And then you can play it in tune. You guys ready? Let's try it. Try something new. So F, A, C sharp, D, C, 2, ready, go. Did you guys try rolling out a bit? Good. And there's other ways to explore, but do have some tools in your toolbox. Please do not play your low register flat. No need to lose those points. Okay, other things that you could lose points on. Find my paper here. The hardest spots. So I told you I'd give my students next week, they're all going to get a stack of flashcards, and it's going to be the hardest practice boxes. Let's pretend we have company coming over for dinner, and we're having Texas style. We're having brisket. Am I going to start, and mac and cheese. Am I going to start the mac and cheese before the brisket? No. Okay, because brisket takes way longer to make than mac and cheese. Yeah, we know over here. So it's the same thing. Not all parts of your music take the same amount of time. So I like to start with what are the practice boxes, the hardest spots, give those to my students in flashcard form. They shuffle them up and we go through them in their lessons. And so we'll do one of those now. I'll send a list in the PDFs of what I think after playing it today, because I thought I was going to have to play this whole thing for you guys. So I can tell you what I think the hardest spots are. Okay, let's see. Let's do, 24 and 25. Okay, this one's not terrible. But I would say this is falls under the hardest spot. If you can play this, you've got a good grasp on this piece. So let's kind of noodle through it nice and slow. Da-dum, dee-dum, da-dum. 1, 2, ready, go. All right, easy for you guys. That's one of the hardest spots. You're going to be totally ready. Okay, so the hardest spots, flashcards, I would start with those. I'll send that list over. How to practice this with the metronome, I left my metronome back there. Definitely put it on the 16th pulse. If you put it on the 8th, it's going to be a hot mess when you start. Put it on the 16th. That will also keep you honest as you move into the 3/4 and as you start emoting. When I was starting to get, after I'd played it through a couple times and I was getting more comfortable with this, I noticed I was really pulling on some of these long notes. I mean, I'm exaggerating, but that will keep you honest, and you'll be totally on with the 16th note. There's no reason not to practice with. Oh, it is really that important. Okay, so, and I ended up at 126. I think this is a comfortable end goal with the, or it might be really fast. I'm sorry if it's really fast and you guys are like, wow, she's crazy. Okay, this is with a bum 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 bum. Okay, so 126 with the 3s. I don't absolutely love practicing with the annoying top click. So I actually prefer to practice just by speeding it up. So at some point during my half-an-hour practice session today, I did play it at the fastest these metronomes will go, which is, if you didn't know, 252. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay? All right. Last two things. Fast version. Paper. One is, if you look at the first 3 bars, this is a tiny detail. You can't quite tell with my purple scribble there. But the first 3, the third note, we're looking at the third note of the first 3 bars. The first time it's long. The second bar, the third note is short. And the third bar, the third note is tongued. Yeah, whose idea was that? Car Gaylor, thank you very much. So just something to take a note of. And then I put down some hard tonguing swaps, 10 and 11, 12 and 13. Okay, 30 seconds. The question my students all want to know. Ms. Chapman, I can play this really well, but how do I play it fast? I know if I play it fast, I get a better chair. So that is the question on everyone's mind. And there are many options to this. I'll tell you one that's worked for many of my students. First step is to do it in small chunks and get it memorized. When you don't have to read the notes and it moves into the physical aspect of playing, then you can go much quicker already. Second is you must be loose. If you are squeezing and you're tense, it won't work. So sometimes I'll have my students walk around, especially my most tense students, or I'll have them get a yoga ball. You can get one at Walmart for not very much and sit on the yoga ball. That relaxes some of my students. So find a way to be loose. Maybe it's like right after you just took a nap and you're just a blob of jelly. So you want to be loose. And then your third thing is to practice with rhythms. So you can ask your teachers, and that is the trick that all professionals use. My personal favorite is to use first note long, second note long, third note long, fourth note long. Feel free to ask if you have more questions about that. But I will say that, obviously, focus on playing clean with phrasing and the right articulation before you focus on speed. You all sound great. You're going to be fabulous. Thanks for being here tonight. Bravo.
Okay, everybody, a few notes to wrap up. If you enjoyed this, guess what? It gets even better. On Sunday, September 14th, Helen Blackburn and Christina Ballatori are going to be here. Christina used to teach at the Rio Grande Valley. She went up to Wisconsin, and now she's at University of Arkansas. And Helen Blackburn was at West Texas A&M for a long time. I've known Helen since she was at Stephen F. Austin, but she's the Dallas Opera flute. She's going to be here Sunday, September 14th. It's going to be $15 to attend that masterclass. They're going to take you through everything. If you'd like to try a flute, if you'd like to make an appointment to try a flute, they're going to be here until 9-ish to have you go over and say, hey, I'd like to come this day and try out a new flute because, you know, I'm going to sound really amazing this year. Or I need a flute to go to college. If you want to check out after this class, yeah, we got sorry, it's like walking out of a movie, right? We've got shopping. That's the benefit of being here in person. You guys get to go late night shopping. Everybody go, yeah! Woo! All right, so they've got bags. They've got a marching band display back there. Guys, they've got flute hats. I know, they're so cute, right? We've got all kinds of music. If you want to go ahead and get your solo that you're working on, you can get that here. We've got cases, bags, and so much more. It's really important to watch the videos that come through with Dawn and Julie. Dawn's going to teach you the importance of making a great sound on every single note in your etude and why that's important and how to do it and how to play your etudes musically. Guys, if there's one thing we really want to hear, it's for you to play them with feeling and musicality and direction. And Dawn's really good at that. Julie's going to tell you how we got to this place in the first place, how the whole process works is selecting the etude. And it's kind of what it's like to be a music major in college if you're thinking about that. So once again, thanks to Carolyn Nussbaum Music Company. Guys, you get to go late night shopping here, so please feel free to pack your flutes up, go make an appointment to try out some flutes, go look for music, bags, knickknacks, things like that. Marching band displays over there. And can we take a group selfie? All right, we'd love that. So we're going to cut off the live stream now. Thank you guys for joining us. I hope you feel really confident about your future on these etudes. All right, thank you. All right, are we done? Yeah. Woohoo!